All right, jig customization is a lot of fun. It's like mixing and matching with your toys or whatever you want to be playing with. Now, there's big jigs, smaller jigs, structure jigs, all types of skirted jigs. And as you can see, I got here all types of different trailers. I've got some D-bombs, baby D-bombs, the Zoom Salty Chunk, Zoom Super Chunk. I've got the little Chigger Crawl there, got the Paca Chunk, got the Twin Turbo, the small Salty Chunk, all kind of different chunks based on how you want to customize your jig. So there's a couple things I want to get outright first. Whatever you do, you want to make sure that you keep your jig trailer connected to your jig. You don't want that trailer to be falling off or tearing off. Don't need that out there in the water. That's number one. I'm gonna show you a couple little tricks to help keep that jig, that trailer on the jig. But first of all, this is a flip out, and it's a full size flipping jig. It's a 3/8 ounce size. So sometimes you don't want this is what I call full bush. This jig is totally full. It's, you know, that's the way it's going to come from the factory. That's a full length skirt. There are times that I want to take, I don't want to go down to a mini flip. I don't want to go all the way down to the mini flip quite yet. And that's, you know, a fine cut skirt, smaller profile, smaller hook. I still want that bigger hook, but I want a little smaller skirt profile. So I'm going to just take and trim it right under the hook, and I want to kind of round it a little bit. I don't like that straight across look, like a bowl cut for a jig. I don't want that. So I'm gonna get that. See how that's a lot smaller profile, and then you can do a couple different things. A lot of anglers fish a big salty chunk like this right here. This is like the old Uncle Josh's pork, the real pork skin. This is exactly what it used to look like if you're not aware. But if you're gonna take and just hang that on there, that's good. You know, that's fine, that works good. But what happens is, as you're fishing that jig, it's gonna potentially slide up the shank of the hook. That is no good. That right there, that is no good. So we're gonna take that off. We're gonna take that chunk off, and then we're gonna take some sort of a small worm. This is just a Missile Baits Ned Bomb, and then we're gonna take and cut that off right about there. Then we're gonna slide that up onto the jig first. Slide that up there all the way, just like that there. And then as you can see, now when I'll go to hang that jig back on there, it's going to keep it from sliding up the hook. So then your jig's going to stay in more of a sense of like it's supposed to be. That thing is just going to hang straight off the back. Works really well that way. That's one little trick I was going to show you on how to customize your jig. So if you're going to take and put, you know, the mini flip here, and you're going to put a trailer on there, you want to take and put that little chigger crawl on there. You're going to probably thread, because it doesn't have enough meat on there to hang on the hook. So you're probably going to just thread that bad boy on there. A lot of people like the chigger crawl when they're trying to get something with a little more action on the back of it. So it looks, you know, once you thread it on there, it's a nice little compact package there with a 3-inch chigger crawl. And then you could also just hang a small salty chunk on there, just like that. And then probably my favorite is to use a baby D-bomb on this jig. And so when I'm going to thread a baby D-bomb, I'm going to cut about the top third of it off and leave it just like that. About the top third is what I'm going to cut off. And then I'm going to thread the majority of the body right back onto that jig so that it sits nice and straight on there. Here's one I already had done up, and that's the Bammer Crawl with an El Diablo on there. It looks really good in my opinion. But that's how I like to fish that a lot. If I want a little larger profile, sometimes I will cut down. I'm going to take this one off. Sometimes I will cut down a full-size D-bomb. This is a full-size Missile Baits D-bomb. I'm going to cut that same probably third off the top of it, but with the D-bomb, I'm going to go ahead and trim the sides a little bit, just like that. And then on the other side, I'm going to just cut the ribs off the side so it's not quite so bulky. And then I'm going to thread that portion right up on to the mini flip. Just like that. So you see that's a much bigger profile than you get with the baby D-bomb. And it's the same jig, same skirt, but a much different profile. That's, you know, those are both great. They have a little bit of action, but they sail quite a bit. Those are probably my two favorite ways to fish the mini flip and the way I customize it. And I'll show you one other little trick for customizing your jigs. If you want that D-bomb to have a little more action, just a little more kick, if you want it to sail more, leave these on there. If you want it to kick a little bit more, pull these little side pinchers off, and then it's gonna be like that. That's gonna allow those two flappers to kick a little bit more when you pull it through the water. Just some other little trick to try on your jigs. But then here's a structure type jig. This is a Missile Baits. This is a headbanger. Football, any type of football jig is kind of the same way. You can definitely trim that skirt, to get it a little bit smaller profile. And then your trailer is going to stick out from the back side of it. You can use kind of any type of trailer. I like a twin-tailed trailer on a structure jig. The Missile Baits Twin Turbo fits on this headbanger perfectly. And anytime I'm putting any keeper on there, my favorite little trick is to put a little drop of super glue on there. And I don't care what kind of keeper your jig has. You could have a screw lock, you could have any kind of keeper. I don't like screw locks because you have to totally mess up your jig to get your trailer to get it on there. But I'm just going to take one little drop of that super glue. It doesn't take much at all. I like the gel super glue a lot better. I'll take it and then I'm going to slide that bad boy all the way up there. And once it's on there, it's not coming off. You're not going to lose that off, and you got the nice little compact profile there, a little custom jig trick from myself to you. So now you can take and customize your jigs all you want. And then, I don't know if you noticed it, but sometimes I like to mix and match. I mentioned earlier, this is the Bammer Crawl skirt with a El Diablo trailer. They both have orange in it, and the two oranges really pull out. Or you could just go matching. You could get the black and blue trailer with the black and blue skirt. You can also do that, green pumpkin, and then on that little Ned bomb, a lot of times with that little worm that I thread on there, I'll do an accessory color like a chartreuse or an orange or a blue, something like that, just to give that green pumpkin a little bit of flash on that inside. I just think it looks natural, realistic, just a little accent on there as well. So be sure to mix and match your colors. You can have a lot of fun when you customize your jigs. And of course, jigs are gonna catch big fish, so be sure to tie good knots and be sure to post, comment on any customization that you do to your jigs that I didn't mention.